Hi, and welcome to WeShape's Best Stretches for You Masterclass. If you're here, it's likely because you've been feeling tight, stiff, and maybe even unsure of what to do to finally feel good in your body. You're not alone. We know how frustrating it can be when you're not as flexible as you want to be, and all you want is to move freely and without pain. But today, you're in the right place. WeShape is here to help you break through those restrictions that are holding you back. Coach Tyler will guide you through the most common flexibility issues that cause discomfort in areas like the lower back, shoulders, neck, and knees. During this masterclass, you'll learn a simple routine you can follow to gain flexibility and start feeling so much better in your body right away. Remember, this is about you and moving at your pace in a way that feels right for you. You are the only expert of your body, so be sure to listen to its cues and only go as far as you are safely able to do so. Before we get started, take a moment to grab a yoga mat, a sturdy chair, or any similar support, and keep some water nearby. Make sure you're comfortable and have space to move freely. So let's jump in.
Welcome to the Best Stretches for You Masterclass. I'm so happy that you're here right now, and today our goal is to give you the stretches that you need to increase your flexibility, relieve the tightness across your body, and feel significantly better in your body again as well. And we're so sorry for the delay on this live masterclass. We had some technical issues, but I promise that you'll get a ton of value out of this experience, right? So here's what we're gonna do today during the Best Stretches for You Masterclass. First of all, I hope you came prepared to actually follow along this routine, because I'm going to show you some stretches. And the goal isn't just to show you a bunch of stretches and have you apply them. The goal is to show you a bunch of stretches and teach you how to pick the best variations for you. And then at the end of this masterclass, I have two things that I want to give you that are going to help you put these stretches into action right now so you can gain flexibility and feel significantly better in your body, all right? So before we get started, what I'm hoping y'all can do for me is this. Check in with your body right now. Just close your eyes, feel your body, think about where your hamstrings are, your shoulders, your neck, any tension you feel in your body. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how tight do you feel right now? 10 being, oh, I feel so tight, I can feel my neck, I can feel my hips, my hamstrings, everything. And 1 or 0 being, I feel loose and free. I can barely feel my body because everything feels so smooth right now. So think about that for a second on a scale of 1 to 10 and post in the comments below where you're starting right now. And make sure you write that number down, because by the end of this masterclass, I'm hoping to take that down by several points, okay? Giving you more flexibility today in just the next 30 to 45 minutes, okay? So post that in the comments. We'll take a look at these numbers here real quick, and then we'll dive straight into the content, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. First, we're gonna start by talking about the 4 causes of inflexibility. And this is important because the stretches that you're gonna learn today are going to show you how to fix all 4 causes that create inflexibility. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the 5 rules of stretching. So if you're a beginner, if you're not sure what to do, if you feel confused all the time about all the different stretching routines and yoga routines and this and that, well, these 5 rules are going to help you condense all the knowledge you need to gain flexibility into 5 simple rules that you can take along with you, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to fix those 4 causes of inflexibility, and I'm going to show you a bunch of variations for each of these causes. And I want you to do this. I want you to follow along to each one of these stretches and pick the stretch that feels like the right fit for you. Because again, at the end of this masterclass, I'm going to give you 2 gifts that are going to help you implement all of these stretches into your routine so you can be consistent with this and gain flexibility faster, okay? So make sure you stick around to the very end. I promise it'll be worth it. It'll be a follow-along routine to help you apply all this information right now, okay? So let's start with the 4 causes of inflexibility, because this is important to understand why we end up being inflexible in the first place. Number 1 is bad posture, okay? And there's really 2 types of posture here. There is the posture where your upper back is rounded forward like this. This is kind of your upper back posture. And then there's the other one, which is your pelvic posture. So whether you have more of an anterior or a posterior pelvic tilt. When we have bad posture, we shorten muscles and lengthen other muscles in a disproportionate manner, making our body not be stacked on top of itself, all the bones stacked on top of itself. And you know what that ends up doing? causing aches, pains, and injuries. You don't have as much strength, and your body doesn't feel as good. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to address bad posture. I'm going to tell you which stretches to do based on your actual posture, and then you can take the ones that feel the best fit for you, and we'll apply them at the end of this masterclass. Okay? Number 2 is imbalanced rotation. Okay? One of the most common things I see people do when they age is have too much internal rotation. Okay? So this is like what I like to think about as the fetal position. As you age, we start to gain tightness and inflexibility all the way through our hips and into our shoulders, and we come into this fetal position. And all of a sudden, what happens? We can't put our arm overhead, for example, easily, or we can't fully extend the hips or open the hips all the way. And so poor imbalanced rotation is going to cause flexibility issues, but a lot of these stretches are going to help open up the body, which is what we want to do, because that makes the body feel so much better. Okay? The next thing we're going to touch on is excessive tension. I'm going to bring up something called tension awareness right now. Okay? This is important because right now, take a moment and just feel your neck muscles and your trap muscles. How do they feel? Are they tense? Are they loose? Now take a moment, take a deep breath in, and then relax those muscles. You probably had a little bit of relaxation in there, didn't you? You probably were holding a little bit of tension. Well, here's the deal. We hold a lot of excessive tension in our body when we stand, when we sit, when we work, and learning how to approach your stretches and your life by doing body scans and checking for that excessive tension is really valuable because we start to loosen up the muscles and relax the body a little bit more as well. Okay? Number 4 is improper breathing. If I'm constantly breathing in my chest, then what happens is, look at my neck muscles. I'm always going to be using my trap, my neck. I'm going to be extending the ribs like this. I'm going to be sucking the belly in like this. And when we breathe improperly, over and over again, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times, then we start to develop tightness in all of those areas. And that makes our body feel bad. And so we're going to talk about how to breathe while you do these stretches to make sure we're constantly relaxing those muscles. And this is a breathing pattern you can do without even stretching like we just did to relax the neck, to relax the hips, to relax the body, so you can approach your life with a whole lot less tension. Okay? So those are the 4 main causes that we like to focus on here at WeShape to help you reduce your tightness and increase your flexibility. So let's talk about the 5 rules of stretching, okay? I want to make sure to give you these 5 rules because these 5 rules will be things that you can take with you to make sure that you're not following bad advice, because there's way too much bad advice out there that's giving you way too many stretches and way too many things to make you not actually gain flexibility. So, rule number 1, pick the right stretches for you. Not for me, not for your neighbor, not for the other people on this video, for you, okay? Now this is really important. We're going to be going through this during the masterclass because if you pick the wrong stretch for you, it can actually make things worse. A classic example is this. A lot of people, when they have tightness in their neck and their upper back, they do this stretch. They bring their arm across their body and they pull it against their chest like this to stretch these muscles back here. And while that can create temporary relief from the tightness that you have in your neck and your traps, guess what's happening? These muscles aren't stuck in a short position, so they're not technically tight. They're stuck in what's called a long tight position, meaning they're super long and they need to contract more. And so by doing this stretch, we get temporary relief, but the problem gets worse over time because we're continuing to encourage that muscle to stay in this long, bad postural position. So by learning to do the right stretches for you, and in this example, learning how to stretch your chest instead of your traps and your shoulder blades, then guess what? You're going to actually gain the flexibility you need and your body's going to feel better for it. So rule number 1, pick the right stretches for you. I'll walk you through how to do that throughout this masterclass, okay? Rule number 2, and this is a big one. A lot of people, when they try to gain flexibility, they join a yoga class, they do like some stretching routine for like 45 minutes, and they do that maybe once or twice a week, and they think that that's enough exposure to gain flexibility. But let me point this out. If you're doing a yoga class and you do a hamstring stretch where you're bending forward and touching your toes for, let's say, 2 classes a week, 2 minutes each time, you're getting 4 minutes of total hamstring stretching time a week. But what if you found the right hamstring stretch for you and you did it every day, morning and night for 1 minute? Okay, now you're getting 2 minutes a day or 14 minutes a week. So in example 1, you're doing 2 hours of yoga a week and you're probably not really gaining that much flexibility on any particular pattern because you're not doing it enough. And then the other example, you're spending 14 minutes a week And you're actually increasing your flexibility faster because you're sending that constant signal to the body. So instead of doing an hour-long, yoga routine, things like that to gain flexibility, pick 3 to 5 stretches and focus on doing those stretches every single day if possible, and at bare minimum, every other day. If you do this consistently, not only does it not take very much time, 10 minutes is really all you need to gain that flexibility in those areas of your body. And then once you get through those 3 to 5 stretches, you can pick 3 to 5 more and continue to gain flexibility. But it's more efficient and it actually works in the long run, okay? So rule number 2, focus on 3 to 5 stretches and try to do them daily, okay? Number 3, hold each stretch for 60 to 90 seconds. There's a lot of people out there that say a bunch of different stuff about stretching. I like to think about the 60 to 90 second range because that seems like a good enough amount of time to actually relax the muscles that you're stretching, and do that a few times. Go through a few rounds, and we'll do that here in just a sec, okay? So rule number 3, hold each stretch for 60 to 90 seconds, all right? Rule number 4, and this one's big, use your breath to relax. So you're gonna follow along tonight, right, to some of these stretches? And here's the breathing pattern that we're gonna do, and this is a breathing pattern you can take with you into your daily life to relax your body anytime you wanna relax it. And it looks like this. Belly breath first, so we put our hand on our belly, hand on our chest. We wanna push the belly out, but not the chest out. And then when we exhale, we make a physiological sigh, and we try to relax all the muscles of the body, okay? So if you're following along right now, and somebody else is in your house, and they don't walk over to you and look at you with strange eyes going, why is this person going, over and over again? Then you are not sighing loud enough. Trust me when I say the physiological sigh will help you gain flexibility faster. So it's a deep belly breath in, and then a big relaxing exhale with that physiological sigh, okay? Rule number 5, if you want faster results, gaining flexibility faster, don't do more stretches, repeat those 3 to 5 stretches more times, okay? So do more rounds of it. So again, if we talk about the hamstrings, maybe you stretch your hamstrings, maybe you stretch your quads, maybe you stretch the sides of your body, and then if you want to gain more flexibility, do it again. Do it again in that same routine. This is going to give you even more exposure to these stretches that will actually help you gain flexibility, okay? So again, step number 5 is if you want faster results, repeat those stretches. Don't add more and more and more and more stretches, okay? So I'm really trying to highlight something important here across all these rules is keep it simple. Pick the stretches that are right for you, focus on the basics, and it's consistency with the basics that actually delivers results. Okay, now that we got through that, let's get started stretching our bodies, okay? The first thing I want to touch on is pelvic posture, okay? So pelvic posture is big because oftentimes people either have this type of posture, which is a kyphotic posture, or a lordotic posture. So kyphotic is this. It's more of a rounded pelvis like this, a little bit more of a rounded upper back, okay? And if you have kyphotic posture, there's a high likelihood you have tight hamstrings, okay? And I'm going to show you 2 of my favorite ways to stretch the hamstrings. The second type of pelvic posture is lordotic, or this anterior pelvic tilt you might have heard it talk. I'm over-exaggerating this motion, but this is usually people with tight hip flexors. Can often happen because we sit a lot or because we're protecting our pelvic region with the strength of those muscles. So I'm going to show you some stretches to loosen those up as well. Now, mark which one feels like the best fit for you. If you have more of this posture, you're going to be doing the hamstring stretches. If you do more of this posture, you're going to be doing the hip flexor stretches, okay? And let's start with the beginner variation, and I'll also show you an intermediate variation as well. So for the hamstrings, my favorite stretch of all time, and this is so fantastic, doesn't matter if you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, this is one of the best stretches, is a lying hamstring stretch, okay? So lie down on your back. You can do this on a couch, in a bed, anywhere, right? And then one of the best places to do this is in bed, before you go to bed and before you get up, so you get that exposure every day. Get yourself a towel or a belt or something that you can put over your foot, and what we're gonna do is put this towel over the ball of our foot, not the arch, not the heel, the ball of the foot, and that way we can get our calf and our toe involved, okay? From there, we're going to pull the toes toward the nose, and if you can, try to relax this leg down flat like this. If that causes any issues, you can bend the knee just like this. That's totally fine. What we're going to do is pull the toes towards the nose until we start to feel some tension in the back of this hamstring. And once we find that tension, we take that big belly breath in, and we go, and as we relax, we pull a little bit deeper. Now, what's really important about this particular stretch is to not go to 100%. All right, that's going to be a rule that you should probably follow for all these stretches. Don't pull to 100%. Watch what happens. When you pull to 100% intensity, meaning like I want to get out of this stretch, what happens? The muscles don't relax, they tense. And we don't want the muscles to tense, we want the muscles to relax. So go to 85% of your intensity. So, ooh, that doesn't feel good, but I can hold it. Take a couple deep breaths. And try to focus on relaxing the muscles. And once you feel that 85% turn into 70%, then you can pull the leg up a little bit more and you'll gain a little bit of flexibility, okay? Make sure on all these stretches that you do both sides, the left side and the right side. I'm not gonna go into crazy detail on the left side and the right side today because we have something at the end that you can follow along to that will help you apply all these stretches, okay? So I'm just gonna teach you how to do each one as we go through it, but continue following along. This is good, so switch sides. If you can do this with a towel, you might be able to reach all the way up and grab with your hand. So the way to gauge progress in this is to slowly work your way up the towel until you can grab your foot with your hand, and then we can try to relax the body, and we get a deeper stretch because we're pulling that leg up significantly higher, all right? So this is a different variation, more intermediate variation. So pick the one that feels right for you as long as you have that kyphotic posture, okay? Now, if you had the opposite posture, then we're gonna do a different stretch to help you. Because again, this is about picking the right stretches, the best stretches for you. The first stretch is going to be a standing hip flexor or quad stretch, okay? So I like to use a chair in front of me for support, just in case you need support for balance, because we'll be standing on one foot. So I'll show you, you swing that leg up, you grab the ankle, and then you drop the hip forward just like this. Now, a lot of people, this could be too hard. So I'm gonna show you a variation that you can do that could be a little bit easier. You can kneel on this chair like this, and you could bring your hips forward like that, and you'll feel the stretch coming through this back hip flexor right here. So what we wanna do in this position is we wanna squeeze the glutes and tuck the pelvis. So we're trying to turn the tailbone under, and then bring the hips forward, and then we breathe and relax and open up the hip flexor muscles. And if for some reason you don't feel this quite as much as you think you should, you could even lift that arm overhead, so this is the same side as the leg that's being stretched, and you're gonna start to feel it deeper into the abdomen and into the hip. That's gonna be stretching the psoas muscle, which is one of the major hip flexor muscles that goes from the hip into the spine, okay? Same thing in this position, breathing in, and then exhaling and relaxing, letting the hips come forward, but not letting the lower back arch like this. We wanna make sure to keep the glutes tight and the pelvis tucked under as we bring our body forward, okay? So you're either doing this version or you're doing this version where we're just grabbing onto the ankle and stretching the hips and the quads, okay? Now, if that felt too easy for you, another way to do this stretch that I particularly like is to do it on the ground, okay? Now, don't do this if you have issues with your kneecaps and kneeling, but ideally put something soft on the ground, come to a kneeling position, set yourself up so you have about a 90-degree bend back here, 90-degree bend right here, turn the pelvis straight forward, squeeze the glutes, point the tailbone towards the ground, and then allow your body to drop your pelvis towards this front heel, right? And in this position, we're gonna breathe in, and we're gonna relax. Trying to open up the hip. You should feel the stretch coming all the way through here, just like this, okay? So we're gonna pick one variation of this stretch, okay? I showed you 3 different versions. Pick a variation that feels like the right fit for you, as long as you're someone who has that lordotic posture, that anterior pelvic tilt. So again, pick one of these versions. If your posture's like this, it's the hamstrings. If your posture's like this, it's the hip flexors, okay? And you'll see how we're gonna apply this at the end of this video, okay? Now let's talk about upper back posture, okay? There's 2 things that can often happen with upper back posture. One is we have tight shoulders, meaning I can't lift my arms overhead without having to bend my back like this, okay? Or we have tight shoulders this direction, where it means we can't bring our arms behind our back, okay? So the way to test this out is real simple. If you can't lift your arms overhead, that's a problem. And if you can't bring your arms behind your back, that's also a problem. But let's figure out which one feels worse for you. So all you're gonna do is this. You're gonna take your arms and you're gonna lift them overhead like this, and you're gonna see how far you can get them up without dramatically bending your back, okay? So try to think reaching towards the sky. If you can lock your elbows and bring them up by your ears, you're probably good there. Now let's bring the hands behind the back. If you can, clasp them and then extend the arms. If you can't clasp and extend the arms like this, then this is probably the stretch for you. If you can't fully extend your elbows by your ears, then that's probably the stretch for you, okay? So we're gonna do both versions. Pick the one that feels like the right fit for you. And I'm gonna show you again, more beginner variations and then more advanced variations of each one. So for the overhead shoulder stretch, we're gonna start by doing a movement called a high chair down dog. So this is we're gonna need a countertop or a chair, something nice and sturdy. Make sure it's sturdy and it doesn't slide out on you, okay? Let's all be safe today. Grab the chair, walk your feet back, and then imagine you have a weight tied around your chest. And then just let that weight pull your body down just like this. And you'll start to feel a stretch in the lats and in the rib cage, which is gonna open up the arms. Now, one thing to be cautious of here, and this is like, I'm a stickler for good movement, is as we do this, and if your palms are flat, don't let your arms roll inward. Don't let your shoulder internally rotate. So it can often be helpful if you feel like you're stretching kind of inside the shoulder capsule rather than through the rib cage and lats, is turn your thumbs toward the sky. So instead of grabbing the chair, thumbs point upward toward the sky and come back into this position, and just let that weight of your chest drag you down, okay? If this is still too challenging for you, you can always come over to a wall, put your hands on a wall, and just do this stretch on a wall as well. That's a great beginner variation. If this feels like it's too easy for you, then one of the best stretches out there to focus on that full shoulder extension is a downward dog stretch. I'll show you how to do that next. You're going to come into the downward dog position. So I'm here, starting on all fours. My hands are right in front of me. I'm going to grip the ground with my fingers to make sure I'm strengthening my wrists while creating that flexibility. Then I'm going to stick my butt up in the sky. I'm not going to worry about my heels coming down to the ground. I'm going to think about bringing my belly button and my chest towards my thighs. So if I'm here like this, I want to bring the belly button and the chest towards the thighs, pressing the arms out forward and opening up the chest, the lats, and giving myself more flexibility in the shoulders, okay? And same thing in this position. We're going to take those big breaths in, and we're going to exhale, and try to bring the chest closer to the thighs every time we do that big inhale and big exhale, okay? So if you're feeling uncomfortable putting your arms overhead, try one of these variations and choose this stretch when we get to the end of this video. I'm going to show you how to apply all of this, okay? Now, if you have an issue with your arms behind your back, right, that ability to fully extend the shoulders and open up your chest, which a lot of people with bad posture tend to have, then we're going to do a shoulder stretch, and I'm going to show you two variations of that as well. So, and this one's great. You can do this anytime, any day if you want to just add it to your routine. This one is great. You can come to the edge of your chair, bring your hands behind you on this one, fingertips pointing outward like this. Then you're going to open your chest and lift your chest toward the sky. For a lot of people who are really tight, this is enough to feel the stretch coming through the chest and the front of the shoulders like this. The more we lift the chest toward the sky, the more we feel the stretch, okay? Same thing as we breathe and relax. We're going to think about, as we exhale, lifting the chest toward the sky like this. So belly breath. As I exhale, I come forward and I lift the chest toward the sky. I can even lift my face toward the sky too, trying to create that flexibility in the shoulders. Now, if you're doing this and you're feeling more of an upper back stretch and not so much of a shoulder stretch, then one of the best ways to make this a little bit more challenging is to come down to the ground like this. Now this one, we want to turn the fingertips backwards, right behind us, about hip width apart. Open the chest. We want to see if we can lift the chest as much as we can as we do this movement. And then we walk our body forward, walk our glutes forward until we find a nice deep stretch going through the front of the shoulder and into the bicep, okay? And same thing here. We take those big belly breaths in. We exhale, and maybe we walk our hips a little bit more forward, okay? And we hold this stretch position instead. Okay, so this is one of my favorite stretches, and this is so cool because if you think about the shoulder and the upper back, really what's the shoulder supposed to be able to do? It's supposed to be able to go overhead and all the way back behind us, okay? So these two stretches really stretch that shoulder through the full range of motion, but pick one of them that feels like the more challenging range of motion for you and focus on that one. Remember, don't focus on too many things. When we focus on too much, we end up failing because we have too many things in our head. And so instead, I want to focus on 3 to 5 things. So you already picked maybe 2 things by now. Let's stay focused on the stretches that are the right fit for you, okay? Now, that is the upper back posture. We've talked about upper back posture by bringing the arms overhead, by bringing the arms behind the back. Now let's talk about the next issue that happens, which is imbalanced shoulder rotation, and then we're going to talk about imbalanced hip rotation. And then we're going to put this all together into a simple routine that you can follow along to, okay? And I promise you, stick around in the end because it's going to be awesome. You're going to finish this and you're going to feel amazing. You're probably already feeling good right now. So go take a look at that number that you posted in the beginning, whatever it was, how tight you were, 8, 9, 7, and just kind of take a moment to check in with yourself one more time and just go, ooh, how am I feeling already? Because what we always find is that at WeShape, people often feel significantly better with just a few movements or stretches, okay? So remember that. You don't have to do an hour-long routine. Every movement counts. And the more you integrate moving your body and stretching your body into your daily life, the easier it is to maintain strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination, and to feel good in your body again, okay? So, again, now we're going to talk about this imbalanced rotation. We talked about the start as one of the 4 causes of inflexibility is this internal rotation of the shoulders and the hips. So we're going to break that apart, and we're going to focus on the shoulders, and then we're going to focus on the hips, okay? So for the shoulders, we're going to focus on one of 2 things, or you're going to pick one of 2 things. Either I have a tight chest or I have a tight upper back, okay? And so how are we going to pick this? The first thing is, if you bring your arm behind your back like this, and you're able to bring your arm behind your shoulder, and you don't feel a huge chest stretch, well then the chest probably isn't a big issue for you. But if you bring your arm back like this, palm to the front, and you feel stretch or tension inside your shoulder, probably have a tight chest, and that's probably the right stretch for you. Otherwise, you could be doing the upper back rotational stretch like this, which I'll show you in a sec, if your chest isn't the issue for you. But let's start with the chest, okay? So for the chest stretch, what we're going to do is come down to the ground. Again, you can do this on a couch. You can do this in bed, anywhere it feels really comfortable. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to find the position that gives us the best stretch. And everybody is shaped a little differently. So for you, it might be a little different than for me. So play around with this position, okay? You're going to start on your belly. Then you're going to point your thumb towards the sky. So we encourage that external rotation. Then you're going to bring your elbow about in alignment with your shoulder, okay? Now this is what's really fun. Play around with the position. See how my elbow's 90 degrees? That might be the best place to feel a chest stretch. You're going to rotate away from it. I'm going to roll away from it like this, okay? And I'm going to feel a chest stretch. Now I'm going to roll back to my belly. I'm going to extend my arm a little bit. I'm going to roll there. Ooh, was that more chest stretch or less? Okay, that was a little bit more. Up here, ooh, that was a little bit more in some ways, less in other ways. Let me just come back down. Yeah, that's the right spot for me. So play around with this bend of the shoulder and bend of the arm to find the spot that feels like the right fit for you. Okay, so now the beginner version of this is we're going to put the hand down, and you're either going to put the knee down or the foot down, and you're going to use that to create leverage to open up your body while you relax this shoulder down towards the ground and stretch the chest. I'm going to take a big belly breath in. Don't forget about those physiological sighs as we try to rotate a little bit more, okay? Fantastic chest stretch, one of my favorite ways to isolate and stretch the chest. Now I'm going to show you on the other side a more advanced version. If this still feels good for you and you don't want to do the advanced version, feel free to do the beginner variation. So find that position again, find the right spot that feels good for you, and this time we're going to push up with the hand, push up with the leg, and if we can, we're going to try to swing this leg over the top and use that as leverage. So by bringing the leg over the top and using this as a counterbalance, it weights our body down and it makes us go into more of a rotational position, giving us a much better stretch in the chest, okay? So big belly breaths here. Open the chest up. Try to relax all the muscles. Try to relax as much as possible. Woo, man, such a great chest stretch. This is fantastic. And don't worry if you can't swing your leg over. It's totally fine if your knee's on the other side, okay? So take a moment, feel into how that made your body feel. Did it feel great afterwards? If so, this could be the stretch for you. And you could probably feel real good about opening your arms now instead of being like, clunky as you bring your arms back. And if it didn't feel like it was the right fit for you, maybe you didn't feel a deep stretch in your chest, maybe you have a flexible chest already, and it's time to focus on something else, which is going to be our upper back rotation. So having a tight upper back and even neck, this is one of my favorite ways to fix that tight upper back rotation, okay? So it goes like this. Nice tall posture. Take the legs, and imagine your legs and the chair legs are one leg, okay? Don't let the legs move from side to side like this. We want to make the lower body from about the rib cage down one piece, and then we want to isolate the rotation of the upper back, okay? So this time we're going to take an arm, we're going to swing it over the knee, and we're going to grab either the chair right here or the back of the chair right here, and we're going to start to rotate our spine, leading with our eyes as we turn our body around. Now what's really cool about this stretch is if you do that physiological breathing, you'll find a lot more flexibility in this motion than you thought you had, okay? And again, you can have your hand on the back of the chair. You can have your hand by your hip right here, helping pry you into a deeper twist, okay? So do a couple of those physiological sighs, and then I want to tell you that slowly, when you come out of the stretch, slowly come out of this stretch. This is one of those ones I don't want you whipping out of because we're messing with the spine, we're rotating the spine. So be safe. It's really important to be safe, okay? So for ease sake, let's go ahead and do the other side real quick. I'm going to grab my hand across the knee, the other hand either by the butt or on the back of the chair. We're going to rotate, tall to the top of the head. Don't slouch like this, okay? We're thinking tall the entire time. Then big belly breath in, and exhale, and let the body rotate. Awesome job. God, this one feels so good. I want to keep doing this one. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to show you the more advanced variation next. If this looks like it's too challenging for you, go ahead and just do one more round of this variation that I just showed you in the chair, okay? So for people who don't feel like this is super challenging, then you can come down to the ground, and we can do a stretch that incorporates the hips a little bit more as well. So you're going to drop one knee like this. You're going to cross the leg over the other leg like this, okay? And then you're going to grab onto the knee, hug it, and you're going to start to rotate your body away from that leg. So this is a classic twist that gets the glute involved as well as the upper back involved. And it's one of my favorite overall stretches because you stretch so many things at once. And just like before, inhale big into the belly. Exhale, rotate, look over your shoulder, and just try to relax everything. Oh, yeah. Stretching feels so good for the body. I hope you guys all take some of these stretches with you and do them frequently and do them in your daily life because your body feels so much better when you stretch, okay? I was telling one of the team here that I have never done a stretching routine and finished it and been like, I don't like how my body feels now. It always feels better, okay? So let's switch sides. Even if you're up in the chair, switch sides. This is a good one we can all do. Big belly breath in, tall to the top of the head, physiological sigh, and rotate. Rotate and relax. Relax all those muscles. Big belly breath in. Exhale, rotate and relax. Cool. Amazing. Oh, that feels so dang good to do those stretches. All right, so now that we've done our chest and our upper back rotation, this is helping our body do this. Open up rather than internally rotate and close down for the upper body, okay? So pick a stretch that felt good for you, either the chest stretch, the beginner or the advanced variation, or the upper back stretch, which is the seated or the ground variation, okay? Pick just one of them and let's focus on that one for you. That'll be the best stretch for you when it comes to this particular area of your body. The final thing I want to cover today before we get to those two special things I told you about at the end that's going to help you apply all these stretches right now and help you gain flexibility and feel better is imbalanced hip rotation. And this one's huge. If you have knee pain, if you have lower back pain, it's very likely that you have imbalanced hip rotation, okay? So we're going to go through a few more variations on this one than we have for the other ones, okay? So instead of just showing you a beginner and an advanced, I'm going to show you a bunch of variations and find the one that feels like the right fit for you, because a lot of times some of these ones that may even be a little bit harder actually feel like a better stretch for people than the ones that might seem a little bit easier, okay? So the first one is about tight hip rotators, okay? So a hip rotator is this. It's the ability to externally rotate the hip and internally rotate the hip. And one of the biggest problems people have is external rotation of the hip. And we get a lot of tension on the inside of the hips and on the muscles on the outsides of the hips. And so we're going to stretch those muscles right now. And to start with, we're going to do a simple move called a lying figure 4 stretch. And it's one of my favorite beginner variations, again, because you can do it in bed. So here's how to do this stretch. You're going to lay down. You're going to cross your ankle over your knee just like this. And then from there, I'm going to take my hands. I'm going to look down. There's a little triangle right here between my legs. I'm going to dive my hands between my legs like this. I'm going to grab the back of my knee, and I'm just going to relax and try to pull that knee inward towards my chest. And what you'll feel is a stretch on the outside of this hip, of the hip that has the bent knee where the ankle's crossed over this knee, okay? You'll feel a stretch on the outside here. Now, for some people, this is too challenging because of flexibility issues. You can always grab a towel. You can loop it behind your knee like this. You could cross your ankle over your knee, and you can pull that towel up instead of looping your hand behind your thigh like this, okay? So pick a variation that feels like the right fit for you. Try this out. See how this feels on that glute. If you can feel that hip external rotator firing, then try to pull it a little bit more towards you. And don't forget to breathe and relax. Okay. If this already feels like the right variation for you, then feel free to switch sides and stay in this position, okay? If this felt like a little bit too easy, or maybe you want to try something different, come back to a seated position, and we'll switch legs this time. So I'm going to take the opposite leg, and I'm going to cross the ankle over the knee this time in a seated position, okay? Now, the further my foot is away from the chair and the more straight this leg is, the less challenging this is. The more my knee is bent and the further back my foot is toward the chair, the more challenging this is. So play around with that position and find a spot where you start to feel a stretch on the outside of the hip. Now from there, what I do is this. Tall posture, and I'm going to bow my sternum towards my ankle. So I'm going to bow my sternum towards my ankle like this. I'm not going to round my back and try to reach forward and have this horrible posture like this, okay? Instead, it's tall posture, bow towards it. And you're going to deepen the stretch in the hip, okay? Same thing here, big belly breath in. And then exhale. Yep. Oh, man, that feels so dang good. All right, so if one of these variations felt like the right fit for you, we'll go through them one more time real quick while you're following along, and I'm going to show you a more intermediate and more advanced variation of this stretch to help the hip external rotators, okay? The first one is going to be a low chair glute stretch. So grab your chair again, make sure it's nice and sturdy, and what you're going to do is take your foot, you're going to put it in the middle of the chair, and let your ankle roll to the outside, And if you want, you can grab to the back of the chair like this with your arms if you need to, or the armrests or whatever is right in front of you. And then what we're going to do is this. Just like we were doing before, we're going to bow, not round the back like this, but bow our belly button towards the foot until we feel a deep stretch on the outside of the hip, okay? And you can play around with this bend position. The more bent sometimes, the more it feels in the glute. Sometimes it feels more forward like this, deeper stretch with this more forward like this. Find the position that feels like the right fit for you. And then same thing here, big belly breath in. And then as we exhale, bring your belly button, your chest towards that ankle and feel that deep stretch on the outside of the hip, okay? This one is fantastic. It's one of my favorites, again, because you can just walk by a chair and real quick be like, oh, let me just stretch my hip real quick, okay? So it's a really good one to incorporate into your daily life. Now, if you're more advanced or you have really loose glutes and you want to take this to the next level is real simple. We just turn the chair around or we walk around to the other side of the chair and we use the back side of the chair instead of the bottom of the chair. So this one, you're going to take that ankle and put it right in the middle of the chair. We have a nice tall posture. You're going to let that hip open up to the outside. Same thing here. Bring the belly button down towards the ankle, and you're going to feel a really deep stretch on that bent leg on the outside of the hip, okay? And really just trying to bring the belly button towards that ankle and loosen up those hip muscles. Okay, like I said, this is more advanced variation, so I won't hold that for too long. But there's 4 different variations that are going to help open up your hips and loosen up those tight hip external rotators, okay? So almost everybody's got tight hip rotators. So ideally, pick one of the versions of this. And then the last move I'm going to show you is for tight adductors, okay? So adductors are these muscles on the insides of the thighs right here. And again, these are really tight on a lot of people. So I'm going to do the same thing I just did before, show you 4 different variations from something that's more complete beginner. You should do these in bed, right? All the way to more advanced as well. Pick the version that feels like the right fit for you. And then after this, I'm going to share with you those 2 special things that I've been talking about this entire masterclass. And I promise you're going to love them. Okay? So, number 1, we're going to focus on the lying butterfly. Okay? So for complete beginners, one of the best ways to stretch the groin and the adductors is to put your feet together and just let the knees come out to the outside. Okay? And we'll feel that stretch on the inner thighs like this. We're just going to breathe into the belly and relax. And try to let the hips just open up to the outside. If you want, you can even put your hands on your thighs and just apply a gentle amount of pressure just to kind of encourage those muscles to loosen up as you lay in this position. Now, if this feels like a good fit for you, please, please, please feel free to stay here and don't move to the next position as we go through the progression. This is a beginner variation of a hip adductor stretch, okay? Now, the next variation that I want to go through is called the happy baby pose, okay? So this one is bringing the knees up towards the chest like this, and then either grabbing the backs of the knees and pulling the knees towards your armpits, grabbing the ankles, or if we can, ideally, grabbing the feet and pulling the knees towards the armpits, okay? So there's a simple progression for you. If this felt like, okay, maybe this is the right move, but I can't nearly grab my feet, start by grabbing the backs of the knees, opening the hips up, and pulling the knees into the armpits, okay? So we're opening up the groin. This even opens up the lower back and everything as well. All right, and just try to relax in this position. If you can, grab the ankles, and if you can, reach up, grab the toes, and we'll do the happy baby just like this, okay? So this one's a little bit more intermediate. It requires more flexibility, but what a fantastic stretch for your hips, for your groin, for your lower back, for all the different parts of your body, okay? So now I'm going to go into more like intermediate advanced moves, so just feel free to hang out here if you want to. But one of the ways we progress from here is we go into a full straddle. So we start to straighten the knees, straighten the knees, straighten the knees, straighten the knees, and we open our legs up into a full straddle on our backs like this, okay? So this is a fantastic way to open up the adductors while relaxing the body. Don't forget that physiological sigh and that deep breathing as you do this, okay? This is more intermediate advanced, right? But once you're able to do this, where you're holding the feet and straightening the legs all the way, if you want to move to an even more advanced variation, then you're going to come to a seated position, come into that same straddle, and this time we're going to reach our body forward, bringing our belly button towards the ground as we loosen up the thighs, okay? And the same thing here, just get that physiological sigh. Try to bring the belly button towards the ground and reach as far forward as we possibly can to get that deep stretch on the insides of the thighs, okay? So there you have it. There's 4 different versions of the adductor stretch, this groin muscles right here, that you can pick from. And I think this is another one where you should probably pick one of these unless you have absolutely loose adductors, which not a lot of people do, okay? So now I've taken you through this, okay? I've shared with you the 4 causes of inflexibility, and I've showed you all the stretches that we have that can fix that, okay? And this is just a handful of stretches. I know there's a lot more stretches out there, but these are powerful stretches that if you apply them consistently, will help you gain flexibility, will help you feel significantly better in your body, okay? And after that, we talked about the 5 rules of stretching, so don't forget those 5 rules because they will serve you well if you continue to follow them. And then we went through all of these different stretches and showed you exactly which ones you should do depending on what type of posture you have or which area of your body felt tighter. And my hope is that right now, you've got kind of like maybe 3 to 5 of these different movements that felt like the right fit for you. Because again, the goal of this masterclass is to find the best stretches for you. Now, the part here is wondering, how do you apply that, okay? We've just learned a ton about all these different stretches and all these different moves, and how do we actually apply this? And like this is where those 2 things that I shared with you are coming into play, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is what we've built at WeShape, okay? So at WeShape, our goal is to help you feel significantly better in your body. So most fitness programs teach you how to do movements that pump your muscles and help you burn calories so you can lose weight, right? But I'm here to tell you something. We used to own a body transformation company for over a decade, and we helped people lose over 100 pounds. And guess what? When people would lose those 100 pounds, they still wouldn't like the way they'd look. They'd constantly nitpick themselves, and guess what? Their body probably didn't feel all that great as well. And so at some point, we decided this isn't the path we want to be on. And that's when we started WeShape. And the goal of WeShape is to help you feel better in your body and to teach you how to feel better about your body. And one of the core things we focus on is flexibility. That's why we're teaching this Best Stretches Masterclass in the first place. So at WeShape, our goal is to change the way you approach fitness, to change how and why you work out. And our program is going to help you apply every single stretch you just learned, plus more, and we're going to take all the guesswork out of it and make sure that you have the best stretches for you based on your actual goals and your actual current levels of flexibility. So let me show you what I mean. So when you join WeShape, what happens is this. First, we take you through a new client intake survey that asks you a ton of different questions. Some examples are like this. How far can you bend forward? And by determining how far you can bend forward, we can assign you the right variation of the stretches we just showed you, for example, for you, okay? Now, once you answer that question, you'll see we have a lot more questions. This is about the squat, generating more flexibility. So the more questions you answer, the more data we get, and the more we can personalize your stretching and workouts to help you gain strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination, which is what will help your body feel so much better, okay? So once you take the quiz, what happens is you land into your homepage inside WeShape. And WeShape is more than just a workout routine, and I'll show you all that here in just a sec. So to start, we track what we call your feel-good score. This is a score that we developed to help you understand that how you're actually feeling better. Are you gaining strength? Are you getting sleep and recovery? Are you feeling better about your body? Are your aches, pains, and injuries going away? This is going to help you track that over time. And we found that members have a dramatic increase on all of these numbers in their first 30 days with WeShape, okay? Now, from there, the core of WeShape is your movement practice. So when I come into the movement practice, you'll notice 2 things. You have workouts and you have recovery routines, okay? The workouts are personalized at-home workouts that are follow-along workouts where every single movement is adjusted for you based on your goals, your current levels of strength and flexibility. Okay, so these are personalized at-home workouts in a follow-along format. In fact, I can show you right here that when you play a workout, you'll notice we're doing some of the same stretches in the workout. This is part of the warm-up routine. We're going to teach you where you should be feeling this. We're going to give you some of the cues that we just taught you to make sure that you're doing this with good form and helping you understand how to do all these movements so you can gain strength and flexibility safely over time. And like I said, they're workouts, but they're also recovery routines. So when I come back to this page, what you'll notice is these are workouts. Lower body and core, upper body and core, different workouts for the week. You can change your schedule depending on which days you want to work out. We recommend people just go for 2 workouts a week, and you can get an amazing amount of results from just 2 short workouts a week. But if you want to apply some of these stretches that you just learned, then we also have our recovery routines, okay? And what's beautiful about this is we have 10, 20, and 30-minute recovery routines, all right? And not only are they just time limited, so 10, 20, or 30 minutes, you get to choose whether you want to do beginner variations of the movements, intermediate, or advanced, and you also get to choose the focus, whether you want to do full body, upper body, or lower body. So these routines are as short as 10 minutes, contain all the stretches you just learned and plenty more, and are personalized to you based on your actual goals and your actual capabilities, and then you can select whichever ones you want, okay? Beyond that, WeShape also has a supportive community of people who are there to cheer you on and make you feel motivated to show up for these routines. Because again, we're not trying to change the way you look, we're trying to change the way you feel. And in order to do that, you need support to help you show up for your workouts. And finally, we also do live coaching calls every single day of the week, where myself, our resident physical therapist, Dr. Lisa Folden, can get on calls, answer questions for you, and actually help you find the best stretches and movements for you to help you fix your body and feel better in your body. And so, the first thing I wanted to do for you today is this. Most people pay around $39.95 a month to join WeShape, okay? But since you joined this masterclass and you tried out these stretches with us, we want to do something special for everybody who attended and give you 35% off our 3 most popular plans. But this is only going to be active for a little while after this masterclass ends. If you want to check that out, there's a couple ways to check this out. First, if you're on YouTube, you can click the link below. If you're on Facebook, above, right? Otherwise, you can go to WeShape.com/stretch. And what you'll see is you'll see this page right here with our 35% discount, which we're going to enable right after this video ends, okay? So as soon as you guys are off this video, go to WeShape.com/stretch. Make sure you sign up because we'll have everything you need to feel significantly better in your body, including workouts, coaching, recovery routines, and a supportive community all rolled into one. WeShape can absolutely transform the way you feel in your body, and I hope you give it a shot. And one more thing on that, we guarantee that you'll feel better in your body. So if for any reason you sign up and we don't dazzle you with helping you feel significantly better, meaning gaining strength, flexibility, balance, coordination, and even self-confidence, then guess what? You can just email our US-based customer support team and we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked, okay? So check that out again by clicking the link below or going to WeShape.com/stretch right after this video, and make sure you give us a shot because I promise we can absolutely transform your life. Now the second thing I wanted to give you was a follow-along routine, a sample routine which contains all of the stretches that were just in the Best Stretches for You masterclass. And so what you can do right now is get ready, follow along to this 15-minute routine, and pick the moves that felt like the right fit for you. And then afterwards, what I want you to do is post in the comments and let us know, what was your score before you started on your overall body tightness, and what was your score after? We're really excited to see how much flexibility you gained just during this masterclass. So make sure you post that at the very end. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining and showing up today, and thank you so much for taking care of yourself. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to this Best Stretches for You Masterclass follow-along recovery routine. Now this is a 15-minute routine that you can use whenever you need to loosen up the areas of your body that are feeling tight, that are feeling sore, achy, and inflexible. And during this follow-along routine, we're going to be performing 8 different stretches and 1 breathing exercise, each for roughly 60 seconds. And during each section, you'll notice that we display 4 different stretches to choose from. Simply choose the stretch that you felt was the best stretch for you, and then stick to that one as you follow along, okay? Oh, and remember that when you join WeShape, you get unlimited access to our follow-along recovery routines. We have 10, 20, and 30-minute routines for different areas of your body and different levels to choose from as well. So make sure you check out WeShape.com/stretch to see the special discount we're offering new members right now. Okay, let's get started with this recovery routine. Coming up, standing deep breathing. Get ready. Deep breathing is one of the keys to living healthy, managing stress, and learning to focus. So let's start with some deep breaths, shall we? Place one hand on your belly and one on your chest. Take a big breath through your nose into your belly and try not to let your chest move until your belly is full of air. Exhale slowly through your mouth and try to relax your whole body. Remember to use this movement throughout the day to help you relax
and focus. Make this workout part of your daily routine. Winners are made on days like these. Results happen over time, not overnight. Work hard, stay consistent, and be patient. Remember, have fun and do your best. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Get ready. Remember, the more you practice, the better you'll get. I know you can do this. Do you? Prove it to yourself. Listen to your body. Only do what feels good for you. You don't need to be the best, just your best. Three, 2, 1, and rest. Get ready. Change takes time and effort, but you're worth it. Be your best self. You're doing great. Keep building your energy. Go at a comfortable pace and take a breath if you need to. Every moment counts. Three, 2, 1. Great job. Keep it up. Get ready. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Great work. You're building your energy. Go at a comfortable pace and take a breath if you need to. Slow progress is better than no progress. Make this workout part of your daily routine. Three, 2, 1. Yes, looking good. Get ready. You're worth it. Be strong for yourself. You can do this. Take one step at a time. Good things take time, so focus on your form. Winners are made on days like these. Give it your all. Three, two, one. Great work. Get ready. You have to believe in yourself. Reach those goals. I know you can. Strive for progress, not perfection. Do your best, and best means doing what's safe for you. Remember to breathe, don't hold your breath. Three, two, one. Keep it up. Proud of you. Get ready. Good things take time, so focus on your form. Make this a habit. This is so good for you. Every moment counts. Build to that you want to be. Results happen over time, not overnight. Work hard, stay consistent, and be patient. Five, four, three, two, one, and rest. Get ready. Remember, the more you practice, the better you'll get. Listen to your body, know when to rest. The struggle you'll feel today will be the strength that you feel tomorrow. Winners are made on days like these. You are not alone in this fight. Three, two, one, you made it. Get ready. You'll never regret doing your workout after you've done it. You'll only ever regret not doing it. This is the first step in taking back control. Remember to breathe, don't hold your breath. I know you can do this. Do you? Prove it to yourself. Three, two, one, and rest.
Great work on following along to this 15-minute recovery routine. If you like the way that your body feels right now, then you'll totally love the 10, 20, and 30-minute recovery routines that you get unlimited access to when you try WeShape. So just head on over to WeShape.com/stretch to see the special discount that we're offering new members. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining the Best Stretches for You Masterclass. I hope your body feels amazing.